I would be like, hey, I'm gonna go do
Hey, fair.
RWP.
Hey, FYI, we are live, just so you know.
Okay. So I would leave. I would like leave, and I'd say, you know, I'm whatever. I got something. I'm gonna go do RWP, or I gotta go check on something, or I've got an appointment,
Mhm.
and then sleep in my car. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, hey, can I go sleep in the car? I'd say I was doing something, go do it if it took like half an hour, and then charge like 2 hours to it, and be like, oh,
Oh, I mean, I was a terrified little deer in the headlights when I was in the military. I was like, I'm not breaking no rules unless I was really drunk. Then I did,
yeah,
but otherwise, I
man,
was, I was afraid of everything. I was like, oh, they're gonna yell at me. So,
yep. That just
but
blew my mind.
but with that
That
being
that
said, like that guy, if I took a dump and there was blood in it, that's a fair question. That's a fair
yeah,
question for your supervisor, I would say.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
there's like a blood in my stool. Do you think I should go to the doctor for that? Nah, you're fine.
So he has to go home. He has to go home.
Yeah, reasonably so. He's shitting blood.
Well, no, you're like at that point in time, it's like, no, you should probably go to the doctor.
Well, yeah,
You
I
should,
would. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you should
fair.
probably get
Do
a quick
both.
call.
Do both.
Yeah, because you have to like take them at their word, but it's like, I don't know, man.
Dude, if you have, I don't know, like that's one of those things where I'm like, if you are confident or desperate enough to have to lie about shitting blood, like
Yeah,
go home.
you can take the rest of the day off.
Right. Like if it happens every once in a while, I can let that slide. Like not every day or every week, obviously, but like like once a year. Hey man, I got diarrhea. Okay.
It's a weird color.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
green, but like bright green, like radioactive. What do I do? I'm assuming this guy was like 18. The guy who asked if he
I
could go home after pooping blood.
yeah, I don't know. He was just Kim was giving a haircut, and we were just talking about our various struggles in our new position. Mine being like I already told you, like I had the title NCOIC,
Right.
but I'm the lowest ranking one in my section that I work at. So it's like I'm the NCO in charge of nothing.
It's a joke title, right?
Yeah, yeah. Whereas he's like one of the more higher ranking, but like there's people. Yeah, I don't know. Like he has to deal with airmen all the day. He's like, do you ever come across this stuff? And I'm like, nope.
I
I
don't
don't
manage
remember coming
people.
across that when I was an airman.
Right.
But I'm sure it happened. So
Oh, dude. Some of the guys who were at my base, like there was one dude who was like a walking train wreck, and like,
Bailey,
oh no, not Bailey. Although that's a very good point. No, this guy, like, he got out of tech school and he didn't even know what an alternator on a generator was, which is half
mm,
the generator. Like, and I was like, dude, there's two of them, like there's the big one and the small one for the batteries, like a car. And he's just like, oh, yeah, oh, like just a mouth breather,
mm,
incapable of like thinking or critically thinking for himself or critically thinking, and just yeah, he was the guy who'd shit himself in formation and be like, I think I got something in my pants. You think I could go home? Like just such a dunce. And they kicked him out. Like he was so stupid that they kicked him out.
yeah, no disciplinary, just dumb.
Pretty much.
Huh.
Speaking of no disciplinary action, you following this Aaron Rodgers bullshit?
It is bullshit.
Yeah, it is. The dude blatantly lied.
I mean, I
It's one thing to lie to the media. Like I don't agree with that personally, but he also wasn't following protocols in many
there's
ways.
like clearly like documented stuff with him where he's like, or him and the Green Bay Packers organization, where favoritism has been shown. Get up,
Right.
everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Favoritism has been shown, like terrible calls. Like I told you that we had a guy that got fined for saying something to Aaron Rodgers after Aaron Rodgers on the ground grabbed his face mask and like pulled his head down against the ground. And I'll send you the still. Like he grabbed this guy Mario Edwards' face mask, slammed it on the ground, and then the Bears guy was like, "What the hell?" Like didn't even push. Was like, like what are you doing? Like in his face or whatever. And he got
Right.
like a taunt or like a taunting or some kind of like personal foul. And he just grabbed his face mask and pulled it down. It's there, and then it's the same tired ass Aaron Rodgers is really mad this year. He's on a revenge tour this year.
Oh, I
And
see
it's
the
like,
picture.
shut up already. Shut up.
I see
And
the
now
picture.
he, even in the offseason, leaned into the idea of it being the last dance, which was the Big Bulls documentary that came out,
Right.
about like, hey, no matter what happens, this is their last year. And that's kind of what he was saying when he decided to report in. But it's like two different situations. The Bulls were a dynasty that won 6 championships in 8 years. You know what I mean? That never lost when they were in a championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the Packers won one championship over 10 years ago. Like, not comparable at all. Have they been a good team? Have they been a perennial top 10 team? Sure. But they've also been the beneficiary of terrible calls and favoritism and all these storylines. Yeah. And then this fucker is just like, yeah, I sucked a guru's whatever, and now I'm immunized.
Yeah.
See what I did there? My choice of words.
Oh, dude, there's so many people like trying to cover for it too, and I'm just like, how dense
Yeah.
can you be? I I don't know if it's like the media thing, and you just have to like be
I
as
mean,
uncontentious as possible or whatever, despite what people say about the media. But I'm just like, you're giving this dude way too much credit. He is way smarter than not knowing what the hell he's saying. A, B, like he directly answered in the affirmative to a yes/no question regarding vaccines. And
yeah.
immunization means getting immunized through the process of having a vaccine. So like the dude was clearly lying his ass off. And like
You're just lying.
there's a lot of people, in my opinion, like from what I've read, who are like, well, whose business is it anyway? And I'm like, literally, it's the Green Bay Packers business. Literally, it's everyone in sports business. Like, I
Yeah.
understand that people have their right to privacy or whatever, but like, bettors, reporters, anyone who's support cast, like to any of those people, all their livelihoods rely upon like breaking news and also being accurate, and also he broke protocol. Like, I don't know how anyone could be like, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever. Yeah. It just bothers me, and
Yeah.
like it kind of harkens back to the Kaepernick thing, where I'm like, dude, like you can kneel, but like that doesn't mean they have to hire you or whatever. And people are like, it's a violation of his rights. I'm like, no, it's not. He can not get the vaccine and be honest about it and have some balls and actually go through the process. Like he doesn't even have to get vaccinated to have his job. But if that was the case, they would still be totally in the right, because now he's not available for 2 games possibly. Like that's literally their business. That's their bottom line. And I understand that they played favoritism with him probably, but like it's a shit situation all around, in my opinion. And it's going to get swept under the rug. People will be like, oh, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. Who cares? He puts up numbers. So, and people are going to sweep away the integrity of the game and integrity of people, and it'll just be another notch in the, or it'll be another downward stare in the descent to shitty morality and
Integrity of the
lack
game.
of integrity.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, like, not integrity of the game, but just like general personal integrity, like
John Gruden's or not John Gruden, Roger Goodell's handling of some of the domestic
Right.
violence stuff.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I mean, I say the same thing with that stuff too.
Washington football team.
I
Yeah,
say the
there's
same
no
thing with that stuff
so.
too. But like,
The NFL's a joke.
it's just the like the putting up with lying that really bothers me. Like, sure, it might not be the integrity of the game. It's just the lack of integrity. Like, I don't care if you make $1 billion a year. Like, don't fucking lie to my face. And people might say, you're not entitled to his vaccination record or whatever. And I'm like, cool, I'll point at Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson, anybody else who's like, I don't want to get vaccinated, and I'll just go through it. Like, they at least have the balls. They have the integrity to say, like, and stick by their convictions and stand by their guns. Stick to their guns. I respect that infinitely more. Even if I disagree with their decision to not get vaccinated, I'm like, yeah, fine. Like, I can't tell you what to put in your body, and you're following protocols. So, like, you're fine.
Do you think that it was? I mean, it was clearly selfish, but do you think that it was driven by like, do you think it was purely accidental, maybe, or
No,
do you think it was more like uh, I'm trying to outsmart people and just like look at how clever I am in my own mind, or do you think it was just like for the I don't want to go through the protocols thing?
I think it was more so for his own ego. I
Yeah,
don't.
I
I
get
don't
that
think Aaron
feeling as well.
Rodgers enjoys being criticized, which I think I've heard say, and maybe I'm just parroting that. But like, he's a diva, and I've been saying that for a long time. Like
A little bit of
this
like
whole off season,
like
like there was some aspect of it that I was like, yeah, sure, I guess if you're unhappy with like the front office or whatever, but like you can't sit there and complain about the people around you on your team when you have like Devonte Adams, AJ Dillon, Aaron God, who's their other running back?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, like Bob Tunyon, a good O line, like a solid
Well,
defense. Like you can't
yeah,
complain about your team around you like that, in my opinion. Like you can complain about the shitty coaching against the run, I guess, but
yeah.
like,
I, I'm one of those that honestly thinks that he does make the people better
oh, I don't
around him.
disagree with that. I don't disagree
I
with
think he
that,
put
but he
like
can't. I
Aaron
just
Jones is what I think Aaron Jones is a top five running back right now. Devontae
yeah,
Adams is
Devonte
top
Adams
five
is
wide
like
receiver.
the number one running back or type receiver. Jeez.
I wholly believe if they're not the beneficiary of blown or overlooked holding calls by the offensive line and Aaron Rodgers, God given or hard work, his talent, that you put them on any other team, they're outside the top 10. I'm wholly convinced of that.
Well, I hope
There's
so.
nothing.
I hope they lose.
There's,
I hope they lose every game he's not in. Like, and I hope
yeah.
they lose them convincingly. Not
Well,
for Aaron Rodgers' sake, but just to
another
spite him.
thing. There's been times when Aaron Rodgers have been out in the past, and like forget who started in his stead. There have been a lot of games where
Brett
he's gone down
Hundley.
with like
Brett Hundley
yeah,
had
and
like
there's something
17 touchdowns against the Steelers or something like that.
yeah, and there was like a broken guy when he broke a collarbone and stuff. So he's been out a decent amount. And when they're out, they're terrible. They're not good when he's out.
Good. I hope
But
so.
Devontae Adams
Like,
is not. He's not
coming
incredibly
from a
fast.
guy
He's not.
who spent the entire like off season complaining about his team and like how
Yeah,
they're not making the right moves to get to the Super Bowl. I'm like, cool. You're out for 2 games possibly. Way to make the right moves to get to the Super Bowl, you selfish liar.
they're fine because even if they
I
drop
know.
both
Oh,
games
I know. I know they're
and
fine.
Minnesota and
But they
Chicago
might
win
lose
both games,
but they might lose
which
number
they
1
won't.
seed. That matters. That's what I mean. Like they might lose number
Yeah,
1 seed. And that would matter, especially if they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Like especially if
yeah,
they got kicked out in the first round. Oh my god. That would last
yeah.
forever. And I've always actually kind of liked Aaron Rodgers. Like I've respected that he's really, really good. But the second you lie to my face and get caught into it, like I'm done. I don't like him. I always
Yeah.
knew he was kind of a diva, but I was like, your talent is like transcendent. It's supernatural. And so like and honestly, he's not like the worst. He could be way worse than he actually is. Like he's just got like minor tendencies of being a diva at times, or I should say flourishes of being a diva at times. But like, oh, the Halloween party that he threw too, like totally violating all the protocols. Like he's got like 100 people or whatever right next to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, I've got some bath salts, some Himalayan bath salts that I took a bath with, so I'm immunized. My doctor. You remember watching On the Cinema with me, the Tim Heidecker
Yeah.
show? Did I ever show you? Oh, I showed you the murder trial. He's got the Dr. Sand on his side.
Yeah.
Just big beard, no shirt doctor that's talking about getting the fire out your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm kind of like honestly probably more militant about it than most people, but I'm like, dude, I feel like he should get suspended.
Yeah. Well,
Not that that's going to happen,
no.
but
No, I mean, because he wasn't following the protocols, obviously, and the lying's a big thing, but the league would never let that happen.
right. No, it's
Too much. He's too much of a draw. Too many
right,
people
right.
slurp him
We'll
and
set this
worship him.
we'll set this terrible precedent that really good players can break the rules if they want to, and we'll cover for them. We'll just set that terrible precedent. I mean, I guess they
Yeah.
already did, but they're
The
going to
NFL
cement it.
didn't Ray Lewis murder somebody? Didn't he murder a human being?
Yeah, but I think he was acquitted. Or
Yeah,
found,
was he on some? I mean,
or
correct me
there
if
was
I'm wrong, but
no
was he on
not
like an
conclusive
exempt list?
evidence or something along those lines. I don't remember. I was like 10 years old, so.
I
But
don't know, man.
I
Ray
don't think
worked
Ray
there
Lewis
for a
got
while.
convicted. Like Henry Ruggs is gonna get savagely fucked by the system, as
Of course he is. Of
rightfully
course he
so.
is.
Yeah, rightfully
And,
so.
and that's gonna overshadow the Aaron Rodgers thing, and that's gonna
Well,
if they're gonna
rightfully
compare,
so. Rightfully so. I mean, like,
rightfully so. But I'm not
I
I'm
don't
not trying
like
to
it. I don't like him being a
I'm
lying
not trying to poo-poo
douchebag.
it, but it's like it goes back to this thing with the Texans owner who, the China virus thing. The same day they'd say they're not going to release the Washington football team. It's like too many things happen at the same time, and I'm not saying it's illegitimate to criticize and to really set a precedent here with what happened with Henry Ruggs, but it's also going to be an excuse or vehicle to kind of sweep under the rug, like you said, this thing that happened at the same time as this, the same
Right.
exact day, which
Right.
is the Rodgers thing. And the NFL operates like that.
Right.
They really do.
Well, I mean, it's a business,
One or another.
and it's like
It is.
police investigating themselves. Like, oh, we've thoroughly investigated ourselves, and we have found no evidence of wrongdoing. Don't worry about it. Like, that's
Yeah.
exactly how the NFL operates. And from a business perspective, I understand it, but like, again, as a human, I'm just like, I don't like when people are shown obvious favoritism for things that like aren't really warranted. Violating disease protocols to me doesn't warrant, like, that's not a kind of favoritism that I think that transcendent talent warrants. Like, sure, have the day, get veterans days off, and like get bonuses and all that stuff, like get perks, but like follow the basic rules still.
Get a roughing the passer call when the guy really didn't rough you. You know what I mean? You fall down. That's like the veteran calls, right?
I meant more like days off. Like get perks for being really amazing and stuff. That's fine. I don't mind that kind of favoritism, but like foregoing basic rule following is what bothers me.
No, they're protecting the product.
Right.
I'm not talking like the things that the team gives you, the perks that an individual team gives you. I'm talking about something more systemic. Obviously, the team would never do. It's never in their best interest. They don't give a shit, man.
Right.
How many people, like, if the league didn't mandate that? Because the coaches and staff are mandated to have it.
Right.
It's the players that are not mandated. If the coaching staff and everybody else was not mandated, how many do you think would be unvaccinated doing the Aaron Rodgers thing right now?
Oh, I mean, considering that most of them are concussed morons, probably not very many.
I would say like close to half of them would not have gotten vaccinated.
I'd say more than that. More than that. Probably like 3/4.
So I'm saying, like, if it was up to the team, they wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where, like, the league and the Shield is supposed to step in and not be, biased, one way or another. There's supposed to be this objective third party that kind of whatever.
Right. It's so weird to me because
they do show favoritism, and you see it in officiating is what I was saying. The favoritism of being a star when clearly, like, there's just things that are blown. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. So, Tom Brady, like, you breathe on him wrong, there's a flag. You might hurt the product. So like I get that. And it's annoying.
It could cost you a game. It could cost you a trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep. And that's like, honestly, like, I don't really think that there's going to be any recourse for Aaron Rodgers. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, I think what he did was pretty crappy because he lied and he violated protocols with reporters. And as much as people seem to hate journalists and hate reporters, they really like news. And they also love to demonize every single person in media. And I'm not one of those people. So, like, I am pretty empathetic to a room full of people who are like having Aaron Rodgers spittle thrown all over their face when they think he's vaccinated and he's not, so that bothers me. But Henry Ruggs, dude, that sucks.
Yeah. Have you seen the Derek Carr press conference about it?
Yeah.
That was pretty Pretty interesting. Pretty. I don't know. That's a cool teammate. That's a good Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all. I'm I, again, maybe I'm more militant than most people, but I'm like, yeah, sure, like, make sure the guy doesn't kill himself. But like, I'm I'm like, dude, you are pretty scummy.
Um,
Like, sure, it wasn't intentional, and yeah, you're young and dumb, but like, you have every service in the world at your fingertips, and you also are not hurting for money, and you also have a team of like 54 brothers, quote unquote, like, and like, I'm gonna be honest, if it was like an instant death for that lady, I probably would be like, yeah, that's still tragic, obviously, but I wouldn't like have the level of like venom that I have for Henry Ruggs right now. But like, she died by burning to death, and her dog was in the car with her. Like,
awful.
right, right, and also this guy could party, and like, yeah. So like, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, treat him with respect and love and all this stuff, and I'm just like, all I can see is this lady getting charred to a cinder with her dog freaking out next to her, if the dog even lived past the initial collision. Um, and like, it's just hard, like, and I really do empathize with the fact that he's like 22, because like, I made a lot of stupid decisions when I was 22, but like, 156 miles an hour, that wasn't a stupid decision I was making when I was 22.
While drinking.
Twice the legal limit.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, he was twice the legal limit 2 hours after the collision, because he refused a sobriety test, or he refused a breathalyzer test on site. So probably higher, probably like 0.18 or 0.2, which is insane.
Yeah.
And he had his girlfriend in the car with him, and she didn't do anything, and nobody else did anything. So I'm kind of like, obviously, like, I don't know. Actually, can they be held legally accountable for that kind of thing? Is that like,
Passenger.
like if you knowingly allow someone to drink and drive, can you be held in any way accountable for that?
Depends. I don't know. I'm not sure about the legal. I mean, I would imagine that it varies state by state. So I don't know about what Nevada would say about it, but I mean, I would guess that if they were impaired as well, they could use that as a defense, as like a shield to shield them legally. I was impaired to say no to him driving.
But
You
is
know
that
what
a
I mean?
legal shield? Because couldn't you just say that about drinking and driving? I was so impaired that I wasn't even in control of my body. So like, you can't hold me accountable. I wasn't in my right mind. I was
Pleading
temporarily
insanity.
insane. Right, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would be the same, getting behind the wheel because you could say, like you had to have a certain level of motor function to turn the key to get in there to make the decision to do that. I don't know.
Well, I think the
Do you think
more
they
we
should
get
be
into
charged?
like the details of it,
Well,
it's
I mean, is there an accessory to manslaughter?
that's what I
Because he's
was
gonna get
just gonna say. Is the more we get into the details of it, I kind of don't think that it's a realistic possibility. And I'm not
yeah.
necessarily pushing for that. I just don't know what happened. But like, it raises the question where it's like, yeah, if your like friend leaves your house, and well, because like, can't bars be held liable for that kind of stuff?
They can.
That's interesting. That
Yep.
requires research.
Yep. I know that I can't. I mean, if I see somebody impaired that I don't think should drive, I can find out if they're driving or not. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then I could make a decision from there.
But
I'd
like,
call a cab, call an Uber.
so like, you as a bar could lose your liquor license if you were to get caught. And I mean, I probably imagine it'd have to happen a lot, but like, if you were caught like serving someone who was clearly overly intoxicated, like, could
Yeah.
you lose your liquor license for that? Or is that something that have to happen multiple times?
It would have to have. You're talking about over serving.
Uh, I mean, like, serving people like and not cutting them off, and then they get like stupid trashed and that kind of thing. Because I'm pretty sure that's a thing that like bars
You
are
can
still responsible for cutting you off at some point.
yes, yes, for it's liability purposes. You can I will cut somebody off at a certain level. It if they so it's all about like if you get overserved, you know, how are you getting caught being overserved or to
No, right.
whom
I'm just saying,
is that?
hypothetically speaking,
So if there's a DUI or if there's a car accident or
like
something like
what
that,
if like the president of the liquor board was in there and just happened to see this? That's like, like just worst case scenario, and like you got caught doing something like that. I'm just wondering what the
like
recourse would be.
overserving somebody. I mean, I mean at that point it's would be I don't know because that's kind of a weird thing. If the person, I mean, they do send people in, like ABC will send people in to check if you're checking IDs, or they'll send
Right.
somebody in, like, they'll do little like sting operations like that. But over serving, I don't know. That'd be one of those things where it's like they'd have to do it on the spot. That person was drunk, and you served them when they were already drunk. You served them two drinks after they were clearly intoxicated when they showed up.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
But
there's a lot of
But
gray
then,
area
but
to
then
that.
to that, I'd be like, well, prove it. They were clearly drunk. What do you mean? That's your perception. To me, they weren't. This is
Right.
a regular mom, and
Right.
they come here every Friday night. They start over at that bar where they have dinner and they
Hmm.
have a couple drinks over there, and then they come here, watch a little TV, get a creme brulee or something at the bar, drink two glasses of wine or drink a couple cocktails, and then they get their ass in an Uber and go home. And I know this person, so prove it. Give us a strike. Are you going to do it?
Right. And that's
Like
kind of
at
like
that point,
why I'm
it's all
wondering how if how this ever even gets, like addressed.
yeah, no, I mean they'd have to be hit with like a public intoxication, or disturbing the peace. They'd have to be hit with some kind of violation for it to come back to you to where there was a authority more than just he said she said type
But
of deal.
but you do agree that like your bar
Well,
could
you
be
have the
held.
responsibility. Yeah, I won't take the risk of doing that if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, interesting. Hmm. That is interesting.
I don't know if he's in Vegas at home and there's somebody in a casino and they're like, "Oh shit, dude, that's Henry Ruggs, dude." They might not know he's driving. They might be, you know what I mean?
True.
Especially because at a casino or one of those clubs where like the bar is how far from the door?
Well, I
I mean,
mean, too, even if it's
is he
like a
talking about it?
even
Is
if
he
they
talking
don't
about it? Is he
even if they
twirling
know
his?
he's driving though, like even if they know he's driving, like I've been to like Hive or Haze or whatever it was, some club in the area, and like those bartenders have like 78 people like coming at them all the time. There's like strobe lights happening all the time. Like, it
Yeah.
might be different in your bar, but like in a club or something like that, I don't expect a bartender to even be able to maintain that
Well,
kind of
so
accountability.
I know, and then so I don't work at those places, but they're supposed to like some of the bouncers, but they have extra bouncers and there's like floor managers
Right.
that are supposed to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they'll
So,
let the
do you
bar
remember when that girl threw up on my shoe?
possibly.
you
Was that
were,
in Chico?
yeah, yeah, in Chico. That girl who threw up on my shoe, and that taxi cab guy who wanted to sexually assault her when she was drunk.
Right.
Um, like that girl, if people continued to serve her, like what would the repercussions be? Because she threw up at the bar. Like, you know, that wasn't even making. She didn't even make it to the bathroom.
So yeah, I mean, it all depends on like if it's if they're able to notice. Like she was clearly, some people are like trash and they go in and then maybe their buddy goes to the bar or something. Their buddy's a little bit more,
I mean, but this
you
girl
know,
threw
and
up
they're like,
at the bar.
let me get. Yes, if somebody comes up to, I mean, I'm just saying it's not always so cut and dry.
No, I
If you're
agree.
clearly
I
like that,
agree.
somebody.
I'm
If
no, I totally agree, and I'm
if you
not
throw
saying
up if you throw up on yourself at the bar and the bartender cuts you off and the bouncer kicks you out, like you need to get out of here, go Uber home, and they end up walking around the corner to another bar with somebody and they go up and they're able to order the bartender, let me get a vodka cran, or let me get a beer, man.
right,
You know what I mean? And that
right.
person's like doing other stuff or whatever. It's like, sure, there you go, and whatever. And then they go, that's over serving that person that just threw up around the corner. They didn't know if they're able to pull that off. I mean, like I said, it's perception. It's not easy.
No, and I know,
In a
but I'm
perfect
just
world,
saying,
you'd be
like,
able to tell.
what I wonder though is like what the actual recourse would be if it were cut and dry. Like that girl throwing up at the bar is one of the most black and white examples that I can think of.
Sure.
Like you have to cut this person off at this point, like obviously, and
Right.
they did.
And if they get caught serving, I mean, if they were able to document it or do it in such a way that it could be brought
I mean, I
case
definitely
to be
think
done,
like if that so like
they
say
would get the person would get a strike. The bar, I believe, would get a strike against their liquor license.
mm,
There's usually some kind of remedial training. They don't. It's not a one-off like you lose your liquor license.
well yeah I
It's more
wouldn't
of a
I didn't think
it's more of a
necessarily that
repetitive
was.
thing. You
I
know
was
what I
just
mean?
wondering. Right.
If you overserve somebody, and then maybe like there's an incident where like the bar across the street from the one I worked at, there was like a street fight, people were drinking or whatever. One guy was talking to another guy's girlfriend or whatever. They got into it, and this guy like hit the crap out of him, broke a bottle over his head, or something happened like that. That that guy ended up suing the bar for like that, and they lost their liquor license. So shit like that could happen,
Right.
you
And
know.
so what I
But
was
it's
gonna say
involved.
with that one girl is like I don't necessarily think that like the liquor board would have to be there. I think that what could happen is say that girl throws up on herself and then keeps getting served. And say we weren't there and then she gets like sexually assaulted by a taxi cab driver or something like that, and then she calls the liquor board the next day and says like it says on my bill that I spent $350 on vodka cranberries at this bar and they didn't stop serving me and I got sexually assaulted last night. Like, you need to investigate this. Like, I could see something like
Yeah,
that potentially happening, but
sure.
yeah,
Because of crime, because they're investigating a potential crime,
that's true.
they can
Right.
they could at
It's
that
not
point
just the
the police
concept
can
of
get involved and say,
overserving.
hey, let me see your security camera footage over the bar, and you can see her going back and forth like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh man, yep,
Right.
you guys are liable
Right.
for that. Now you're accessory sort of to this crime, or you helped enable this happen by not
Right.
serving responsibly, because you get trained on some of that stuff. But a lot of times, more often than not, with like the over serving, if there's not a crime or something that is involved with it, which I would say is 90% of the time or more,
Vast majority.
when people
Right.
get overserved, they just maybe they maybe they stumble, they hit their head at home, or maybe they just act like an asshole or do
Right.
stupid stuff, but they end up going home, or they
Pass
Uber
out.
or taxi. They pass out. Maybe they throw up at home. You're like, man, I had way too much alcohol poisoning or
Right.
something like that. That doesn't. I would say that there's probably people that end up drinking too much, and maybe they end up like getting alcohol poisoning. And somebody, as long as they're of age and they're not underage, they go and they get their stomach pumped or something at the hospital. Even then, I doubt that ever comes back to that bar. 90% of the time, but the 10% of the time when it is something like sexual assault or a DUI or a car accident or a fight, drunk in public, things
Right.
like that, then yeah.
Yeah.
And based on the degree of what happens, is like a
So
bartender could probably lose their job. There'd be a strike against the liquor license.
right.
However
So,
many
with
add
that
up over
being
time.
said, because there was a crime committed with Henry Ruggs, I'm curious if that will fall back on wherever he was at. If he was only at one place, especially like if he went to like 12 different places, it's a different story. But if he was just
Hard, yeah,
partying,
it's hard.
huh?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, did he have his crew with him?
I don't know.
Did he have an entourage who
I mean,
ordered
his
drinks for
girlfriend was
him
with
while he's
him.
sitting at the? Okay, so what I'm saying is he going out to the bar and be like, "Hey, bartender, let me get this." Do you know what I mean?
Right. Or did his friends
And the
go
other
and
thing
do
is
it?
like, I don't know. Like, what if he's sitting at a table and there's cocktail waitresses coming by, and there's a
Right.
different cocktail waitress every time, and he keeps ordering drinks.
Right.
So yeah, they'll probably look at the security camera footage. They'll build a timeline of events and see what's happened, and yeah. But if he's sitting down, which I doubt, at a bar, like a dive bar in Vegas, and he's like
No.
the same guy, keep
Right.
passing me drinks. But no, my guess is he's got an entourage. He's got somebody that's buying him shit for him, who's probably stone cold sober or something. You know what I mean? That's just doing this for him while he's at a table. He doesn't strike me as the type. Or maybe he is, and then they felt pressure because like, oh, that guy's a celebrity or star, and we need his business. We want him to keep coming here because he's a Raider. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's pressure that way. So I don't know. It could be any number of things that come out of it.
I mean, right. Exactly. I'm curious. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't know
About the
what you
whole
head
thing.
toward.
No, about the whole thing in general. I'm just curious about all of it because, like,
We're
I mean,
headed towards
it's
we're headed
macabre,
towards.
but like it's really serious, and someone died, and that makes me more interested. Like, just to be truthful, like I'm just like, this is something that probably should be pretty thoroughly investigated versus just like, you know, oh, this guy got in a fist fight this weekend and we need to like go through, like, peruse every frame of security camera footage to make sure that the bartender didn't do anything wrong. Like, you know, that's one thing, but like the whole a girl got burned to death, that's a slightly different situation.
Terrible.
Right. And so like I'm
It's
curious.
terrible, man.
I'm just curious. You know, that kind of stuff makes me want to be like an investigator just because I'm nosy.
Because you want to know.
I
Well,
do.
here's what I think. I think that there are already plenty of them in the world, and that we're going more towards automated bartending, to where you remove the human element out of it, anyways, right? You have
You
people
have to
going like they go to a
breathalyze to get another
McDonald's.
drink or something.
I don't know. Yeah, you take the human element out, so that's a double-sided coin. Like, do you take the human element out, where I can't judge this human to like could a machine, at least not with the level of money that they put in. There's not going to be AI and bartender robots or whatever. You're going to say, I want this, press the button, and it's going to give them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the bar,
For
sit on
now.
labor or whatever.
Right.
But it won't be able to tell unless there is some sort of built-in breathalyzer in it.
Yeah, and in the age of COVID, it'd have to have like a interchangeable. Everyone would have their own little tip on their necklace or something.
But that's the thing. There's nothing that.
We should write a sci-fi movie.
But there's nothing that says you can't be over the legal limit at a bar.
Oh, right.
You just can't be over the legal limit and drive. And so how does that get worked into it?
That's an interesting
Down the
question.
line,
That'd
you know
probably
what
be
I'm
up to the bar's discretion, and they would probably try to strike a balance between like, okay, where's our liability like begin and our fun times end, you know?
Yeah.
So
What is the cutoff? Even if they're not driving, regardless, is it
Right.
0.08?
right. Is it
No,
0.16?
obviously not. Is it point-
Like, I don't know if any bar wants somebody twice the legal limit in their bar, because by that time most people are usually not in their right mind.
I mean, nobody would be in their right mind when they're twice the legal limit, but but some people carry it better than others.
That's
Some
what I
are
mean.
Yeah, there are people that are just like, hey, I'm twice the legal limit, but I'm not falling all over myself.
Right, they have
or
a
I'm sitting
tolerance
down.
built up or something.
I'm not being abrasive. I'm not yelling. I'm not whatever.
Right.
Maybe I'm just dancing and singing karaoke and I'm having a good time and I'm not a threat. I'm just happy-go-lucky, and you're actually building up the whatever of the bar. I mean, it's hard to like
It's an
try to
impossible question.
to take that human element and that human judgment out of things, but it also leaves you susceptible to, I guess, Henry Ruggs type stuff and whatever. He's done. Although I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he was a very good wide receiver that played for the Steelers. One of the original greats before Jerry Rice. His name was John Stallworth.
Dante Stallworth, who played for the Browns?
Dante Stallworth was his son, and he played for the Saints. He may have played for the whatever. And
Dante
I don't know
Stallworth
if
killed
he
a
was-
guy when he played for the Browns who was jaywalking.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And he wasn't drinking, or he was drinking.
I believe he
Dante's-
was drinking, but I believe he was like at or just below the legal limit, and the other guy was jaywalking. So he
Yeah.
got like a 30-day prison sentence.
Yeah. And then played football after that, right?
Suspended for a year and then played for like 2 or 3 more seasons.
Yeah. Dante Stallworth, that was the son of John Stallworth. That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. To be famous and to just be able to, I don't know. So like, okay, now here's an interesting, like, what if? Obviously this didn't happen, but like, what if one of those reporters or like one of his teammates contracts COVID and Aaron Rodgers, and like they are like either A, like have permanent breathing damage, or B, like die. You know, like then like what do you do to, like, how do you hold Aaron Rodgers accountable for that?
How do you prove it was him?
I mean, that's a fair point, but contact tracing.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, if you're vaccinated, you can still catch it and you can still spread it, right?
Yes, that's true.
It's not as likely. It's
But-
not as likely. It's not as statistical, but it's still
Right.
within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
And so somebody would have to say, hey, that 80-year-old reporter from Wisconsin that worked for the local Gazette that you guys let in just to humor him. Yeah, that guy died of COVID like somehow like 2 weeks after this shit happened or a week after this happened, and he was right there in your face asking you a question.
Right.
Um,
And he was a doddering old man who never went outside the home other than to interview Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. I mean, that's a little bit of a far-fetched scenario, but even if
Obviously.
that did happen,
Right.
you know,
I
you
like to
still
play
wouldn't be
these
able to
what if
prove it.
questions in my mind.
And even if you did, I am this much, venom or vitriol or whatever you want to call it against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and the league at this point that I honestly think that they would just cover it up or sweep it under the rug. I really do.
I don't know. The league is so weird because it seems like, I mean, the league is comprised of thousands of people, and so like that's why it seems so weird, because like one day they'll be like, oh god, we're releasing all this stuff and we got to get this guy fired and shit, and like like you've said before, like in many ways it's a distraction, but like sometimes like there's not a whole lot going on, and then like someone drops the n-word and they're fired, or whatever, and like,
Yeah.
so like you have that aspect, but then you have it just all comes down to the profit, I think. Like, a third string player can't get away with the same shit as starter can get away with.
Profit for who? For the individual owners, right?
Well, that's the kind of the even weirder thing with the Green Bay Packers is there is no individual owner. So
No.
like you'd think that they would just want what's best for, I mean, I guess having Aaron Rodgers is best for the team. Look at me getting all politicized, caught up in.
I'd be curious to see what the average Packer fan, right? You got Rams fans and Lions fans and Chicago fans. Like you have people that live in certain cities that are maybe a little bit more progressive, and then you've got like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys and some of the Florida football teams that have a certain demographic that feel a certain way about certain social issues.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Who probably
they
would have
fall on
back.
a certain side of the fence.
Right. There's no consistency there. But I don't know, man. Jim Irsay was smoking crack on the reg, right? Didn't he get in a bunch of like DUI type stuff? But he's an owner, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I think
'Cause
they
he
fined the
owns-
hell out of him, which, I mean, whatever that means to a man who has billions of dollars, but
Wasn't Robert Kraft involved in like a
sexting,
swing,
right?
where
Well,
was, like,
he
where
got
he was
off on a
women were, like,
technicality, no
hands
pun
up?
intended.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well, they
Yeah.
were illegally recording him doing sex trades, so never
And that's
mind.
when you say this is a business and you need to do you have to do what your employer says. It doesn't. The same standards aren't held to the employer. Dan Snyder being a perfect example, friggin' Robert Kraft and whoever else. Like it's not the same.
Trying to think of other
Not the same for the
dirtbag
owners. And
owners.
whoever said it was a plantation mentality wasn't too far off.
Was that Andre
Don't mean-
Johnson?
I don't know.
God, who was the guy who ran? Arian Foster? Was that Arian Foster who said that?
Yeah, Aaron Foster maybe. Yeah, he's pretty outspoken.
I think it was the guy who could fight a tiger or a wolf.
I don't know.
I think he posted on like Twitter or something that he could take a wolf.
I like Aaron Foster because he was this hardcore atheist in the league, and he would like always comment about like not wanting to hear the prayers and shit in the locker room.
I love that. I saw this
And
thing on LinkedIn where this guy mentioned God like an inordinate amount of times for anything that's on a professional website, and it like,
yeah,
I'm just like, dude, like take some credit for yourself. I don't know.
it's all in his plan, dude.
Yeah,
It's all his plan.
he works in mysterious ways. That's why he gives children eye cancer.
Yep, and he gives Virginia to the Republican Party.
Oh, yeah. You had to have seen that coming.
Of course, I've been saying for years the Democrats have nothing to run on.
Right.
Since 2016, they ran on anti-Trump. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of what he's doing is damaging, but you have to have a fucking platform besides anti-Trump and Russiagate. You have to offer something to the electorate
Right.
that
Totally.
isn't just not him,
Totally.
not that.
Totally.
That's not platitudes and identity politics.
Right.
I'm
You have
not
to
saying these things
cater
don't
to
matter, but
quote
like
unquote normies.
push policy through. And don't give me this Joe Manchin bullshit, dude.
Well, so that's what I was just gonna say. Is like you can say push policy through, but like there are real obstacles, like to doing
There are
that.
real obstacles. There are. Yeah. So
So this guy wrote
figure
two
it out.
paragraphs in his like "I'm getting a new job" post on LinkedIn, and he mentions God 9 times. 9 times in 2 paragraphs. I don't. He's got God in multiple times in the same sentence, multiple times. It's be
Yep.
spiritual. Like I think spiritual is super valuable. Like it's given people comfort. It's given people something to strive for. It's inspired people throughout the ages. But like this religiosity stuff is always so weird to me.
Oh,
Got to mention God 9 times in case he doesn't. In case he's listening, you know.
the barrier to progress.
I agree. It's mental
It
poison.
is a comfort, but it's a barrier to progress.
They say they. So they say the religion is the opiate of the masses.
You know,
Makes them feel good, you know. I mean,
makes you lazy.
I would love to think that I was going to heaven. I would love that notion. It'd be a
It
nice
makes you do
feeling.
good, I guess.
I mean, it would be like I would love to just be 100% confident and be like, yeah, duh. Like I believe in Jesus, so I am obviously gonna be treated pretty good, pretty well after I die. I'm not even gonna die. I'm immortal, and it's great. I would love to be in that. I would love to be that way. Like, I don't know if it's diluted or what because I don't pretend to have all the answers, but like, I would love to feel that way.
They do seem happier.
They do seem happier, exactly. Like, I gotta give them that. Although,
Yeah.
with that being said, I would be pretty unhappy if I thought there was like a war on Christmas. You know, that would drive me crazy. Or
But that's the thing is
or
like,
Harry
what
Potter
a,
is infiltrating our mainstream media and corrupting the youth. That was what it was when I was growing up. Was you weren't allowed to read Harry? I was allowed to read Harry Potter, but some close friends of mine were not allowed to read Harry Potter because of the dark
well,
magic.
I mean, it's just either or bullshit. Like, why can't you just be happy and secure and confident? But that only shows that you're not confident in your religion, right? What you just said. I would love to feel that confidence that yeah, God's got a plan and X, Y, Z and whatever. Like the people that are like Starbucks war on Christmas, this war on Christmas, Harry Potter's the dark. Like that shows a clear like
Lack
lack
an
of
insecurity,
those things because you're so threatened by the most, you know,
innocuous,
innocuous, infantile bullshit,
yeah,
dude.
ineffectual things.
So insecure. That's why all you get all these super conservative pastors that are out blowing dudes while like talking down on homosexuality.
Right. 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 Or Jerry Falwell Jr., who's got like weirdo pictures of his pants unzipped with this random lady and stuff.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, projection is very real amongst staunch religious people, in my opinion. But I mean, like again, you know, like there's plenty of uh, good things about feeling that way. I think like just not having the constant curiosity about what the hell is going to go on, like not even necessarily fear, because like I'm getting more and more comfortable with my mortality. I'm still scared of death to some degree, obviously. I'm not like bring it on, but I just spend so much time thinking about it, and it's just like I could be relaxing or spending my time doing something else more productive than just being like, oh, I wonder if being dead is the same thing as before you're born, or if there's a distinction between the two because you can't be dead until you're alive, or does being dead hurt and you just can't remember it, like any of that stuff.
yeah.
It's just a waste of mental energy. And so I would like to not waste it anymore, which is what I'm trying to work towards, but not through religion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think about it too much.
Well, I envy you.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't. Yeah. I just don't pay it any mind. I try to take care of myself, my health. I don't know. I guess I look at it now as a parent through like the lens of, I want to be there for my kids. I want to be healthy for my kids. I want, whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
It's more of a fear from them and not. I mean, there is like you said, like I don't bring it on or anything like that. But I don't know. I'm not saying that I accept my mortality necessarily, but I don't even look at it through my own lens. I look at it more
from the
through them.
perspective of a father.
Well, yeah, like if I have a
Or and a husband.
health scare or like a near death experience or something like that, or if I even find myself thinking about it, I don't think about like, oh, the things I'm gonna miss and the things I won't be able to do. I
Right.
think about it more like my initial thought goes to like them and like how hard it would be for them and
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I seldom think about it. But now that when I do, it's more like that. I don't know.
That's good. I mean, I've gotten a lot better over the years. It used to be one of those things that I was really afraid of, and would be kind not like crippling, but like really weighed on me a lot and often. But as I've gotten older, I've just gotten more comfortable and at ease with the notion of death. And the more I like think about it, which is kind of like a double-edged sword, I'm talking about how it's a waste of energy, but at the same time, like the years and years and years of thought exercises that I've put into it, where like I tell myself, hey, it's gonna be okay. Like I feel like that has had a positive effect as well. So it's kind of counterintuitive. But like one of the biggest things that like I ran into growing up was the notion that you can't have morality without religion. And that one drove me insane because people like literally ask me like, why don't you just steal stuff all the time if you don't believe in God? Like what's stopping you from like going out and like killing someone or raping some chick? What's stopping you? And I'm like, are you a sociopath? Like, what kind of question is that? I want to be a good person for the sake of being a good person. And I
Well,
fail at
yeah,
that
and
often,
the
but
thing
I
is like when
try.
people are like, well, it's written in the Bible. Like they all derive it from like the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right. Well, what if
Except,
you're a sick bastard who would like a lot of
yeah,
things
sure.
done to you?
Well, then those are the terrible. But either way, like if that's the doctrine that you follow or whatever, that does not originate in the Holy Bible, dude, in the King James
Oh
Bible. Like
no.
that's been around for centuries before that, when people were drawing pictures on cave walls and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, doesn't Hammurabi's code like predate the Bible by 1,000 years or something like that? And that's where they codify not murdering people,
Yeah, so
for
yeah, the
example,
Bible
or
is
stealing
the
shit.
Bible. The Bible itself is just like recycled fables, just told in a different way in a different time period.
Right.
You know what I mean, with a little bit of spin.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a collection of these various fables, and they change some names, they change some dates or whatever, and then they insert their own Messiah or prophet that differentiates them enough from other Abrahamic religions or whatever, or other, more. I don't know if you call them.
Our flood myth is way different than everybody else's flood myth.
Yeah. At least the Scientologists are original, right?
That is a fair point. They got that going for them. They're very original. That L. Ron Hubbard was a creative bastard, if not a weird one.
He's not stealing from Egyptians and Greeks and whoever else.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
carving his own path for his cult.
that is true.
And then I guess in
Watch out
regards,
with that C word. You're gonna get Tom Cruise's lawyers all up on you.
yeah, they're probably monitoring all this right now. I take all that I don't have right now.
Take all my
Um,
$0.
all my shit from the Goodwill. I was gonna say in regards to you thinking about death, it's like it reminds me of what is it? The only way out is through. you know, with any of that stuff.
Stoicism.
What?
Is that stoicism?
Stoicism? The only way out is through? I don't
No,
know.
no. The stoicism is the obstacle is the path. Sorry. Go ahead.
The obstacle is the path.
Yeah.
I mean that tomato, tomato. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a little, but yeah, facing your fears. The only way you'll conquer
Well,
your
I
fears is
mean, the
facing your
way
fears.
when I think about that too, like the only way out of this life is through it, which to me basically means like regardless if you live 5 minutes or 100 years, like you still have to proceed through this life in order to finish it,
Right.
and there's no skipping it.
I'm skipping that.
Once you're on the train, you have to get yourself off, or someone else has to take you off. Where's your ticket? I don't got one. Get the fuck off this train.
Get out of here,
Yeah.
freeloader.
Oh,
Stowaway.
I watched Polar Express too many times when I was at your house. That's
So we
what
were going to the
Polar
actual
Express is just an allegory for death.
This whole time I thought it was a Christmas movie.
Nope.
So they were going to the actual Polar Express, not the actual,
The
the
real
ride
one?
in
The
Sacramento.
real Polar Express? That'll be cool.
The State Railroad Museum puts one on, and they do the whole train
Does
like
Tom
that, and
Hanks
the kids
come
all
and
get on, and
dress up like a hobo?
yeah, they have characters that play, and they recite the lines. It's like a dinner theater thing, but that's on a real train that's moving.
Oh man, that's actually kind of cool. Do they do the hot hot song?
I think so. I think so. Yeah,
Dude, Liam's gonna lose his shit.
he is gonna lose it. They're like 40 bucks a ticket, so I'm expecting a good show.
Yeah, it's like, is it a show and dinner? You said?
I don't know if there's dinner. I know we're gonna get hot chocolate. I know that's
I
part
would
of it.
hope so. Hot toddy?
I know that it's got actors that dress up like the various thing, and that they kind of, I mean, they're not gonna take us down anything crazy. I think we just go around Old Town Sacramento, like where the museum is and stuff, by the river, around the Great American River.
Well, that'll be cool.
No, that's
I feel like 40
that's
bucks a ticket's not it's not great, but it's not insane.
gonna make him happy.
Yep,
You know,
yep. Make Kim happy too.
you know. Well, it's
Ha-
getting late.
Happy wife, happy life, they say.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to end the conversation if that's okay. I gotta get to bed. I gotta work.
That's fine. No worries. Good stream or whatever. Chatting about His Holiness Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
and damn Henry Ruggs.
prophecy, Henry Ruggs, death.
Yeah, I'm
And,
kind of like I wonder what the over under. This is dark, but and I don't want this to happen. But I wonder what like the betting odds on him like committing suicide in prison are, because like that would be on my mind if I was in his position, just given how much he's lost in such a short amount of time and like the amount of damage he's done.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like they probably have him on suicide watch, but like if they don't, that's really foolish. Is all I'm getting at.
I don't know.
I don't either. Anyway,
I mean, I'd be more worried about him getting off lightly.
I mean, like, I just want, I guess, justice to be dealt and not interrupted. Like, I wouldn't say killing yourself is getting off lightly, especially considering he's only looking at 2 to 20.
Yeah, what if he gets two and he's what, 22, 23 years old?
Yeah, he's 22, I believe.
So he gets out when he's 25 and he's 26. Maybe he can't go straight back to the NFL. They don't want a place for him, but he goes up to Canada. He plays in the Canadian Football League and makes it a living. He's not making millions, but he's making maybe six figures
Right.
and just like tearing it up because he's a 4-2 guy. He's a first round draft pick. He's having a good season. You know what I mean? What if he does that? What if he comes out at 25, 26 and maybe goes up there for a few years or goes to arena football or, the XFL or someplace like that, makes some money, and then maybe the NFL takes him back at 30 or maybe they don't. He just has a nice 10-year career as a Canadian or arena football league and he ends up becoming a millionaire anyways. Is that justice,
He's
sir?
already a millionaire. He's a first-round draft pick. And most of his salary was guaranteed. But with that being said, like, I'd be extremely disappointed in any team that signed him, honestly. I don't really care if he's learned his lesson or not. I don't think he has earned or should retain the privilege to play professional sports. And, you know, like, if some other countries' leagues want him, then, like, that's on them. But, like, I would say it shows a serious lack of integrity, which we discussed and which we both know doesn't matter. So,
Yeah, but morality is very much in the moment.
right, exactly.
I will say that. So in
It's
2
kind of
years, I'm
like-
not saying nobody's going to remember this, but there's going to be things that overshadow this.
Oh, right. Did you see that?
And there's
Did
gonna
you
be
see that one-handed catch he made in the CFL? Oh my god! Who cares if he lit a girl on fire and burned her and her dog to death?
That's capitalism. There's no morality in capitalism, right? And it's bad for your bottom line now. Bad for your bottom line now because it's so visceral. It's so
Brutal,
right
and
word
awful,
so
and sad,
novel. Yeah,
and irresponsible. I don't know.
mean,
I hope he does the reformed.
Right now,
I hope he does
the terrible shit, and people forget about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I hope he does the reformed DUI guy thing, and he just goes to like middle schools and high schools and colleges and just talks like. Say he gets 2. I don't think he's gonna get 2, considering he was like. Considering just the egregious nature of everything, like twice 156 miles an hour, so that's twice the speed limit on a highway. You know, more than that. Over twice the legal limit. Burns a girl and her dog to death. Refuses the sobriety test on site. Like I don't see him getting 2 years.
I mean, people treat celebrities differently.
They absolutely do. You're not wrong, but
there's mistrials. There's what was it in the case of Cosby? Technicalities, you know.
True story.
There's all kinds of things, right? That could,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Maybe he does have a buddy that
they forgot to read his Miranda rights when they arrested him. So, oopsie.
They, you know, maybe they do. Maybe they do put it on another person. Like you said, like I don't know how that would happen. But
I don't
like,
think. Yeah, I don't know if he could absolve himself of responsibility.
He had a friend that was with him that's willing to, you know, not go to jail, but like take some kind of culpability. You know,
right?
I don't know. There's any number of things that.
I mean, he could just get his charges reduced too, like foregoing all of that. Like just being a celebrity, they could just negotiate a lower.
And he won't have a job in the NFL right away. You know, he'll probably have to disappear for a few years. Wait till the spotlight is not on him. Which that's the one thing is that there's always gonna be plenty of terrible shit in this world that happens, and you know, by comparison,
and then the second one wide receiver gets injured on a hungry team.
I don't know, man. We're just one
speedy wide receiver away from the Super Bowl. Let's hire this manslaughter.
I don't know. We're just one NFL wide receiver raping a white girl away from forgetting all about this.
Or that.
You know?
Yep.
Or being involved in a club shooting where somebody dies. We're one Aaron Hernandez away from Henry Ruggs being on a team in 3 years, 2-3 years. You say you worry about him killing himself in jail. I worry more about that, and I think that's more realistic than the suicide.
I worry about him killing himself more just because, like I said, I would like to see like justice actually served. As much as I don't really think killing yourself is the easy way out necessarily. But like, I also would really hate that. I would be very upset if I saw that fucking guy wearing any jersey, you know, like for a JV football team that he used to play for. I'd be like, you shouldn't wear that. You shouldn't affiliate yourself with the sport of football anymore. But like, especially if, I don't know. Like, I think you're probably right. Like, I think it's one egregious, horrible action from somebody else before people were like, oh, this guy though. And then the circle gets redrawn. It's a little bit bigger, and it takes a little bit longer to go all the way around again, but here we go. Anyway.
Well, that's the way of the world, and the league is not moral. And saying he should never be allowed to play football again. Football is not this arbiter or this. They don't have I don't know, dominion over all things good.
No, not at all. They have dominion over many things that are terrible.
Exactly. So to say he should never wear this jersey, which is actually a representation of pretty terrible shit, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, sure. But you also, I think we both have a romanticized.
That murderer should not ever be allowed to wear the Hell's Angels.
I think you and I both have a somewhat romanticized version of football in our brains still, even if you might be a little more cynical than I am. Like, I think we would both like to think that it could eventually become like about like, you know, like having good players being good people again, or, you know, not again, but like that's a good goal to strive for. And I think that there are good players who are good people that are just outshined by assholes.
I mean, my opinion of professional sports is soured immensely.
Oh, I mean,
NBA
that's fair.
might be one of these great leagues. I don't know, when LeBron James was like completely silent or like walked back with the Daryl Morey from the Houston Rockets said,
right.
You know, we stand with the people of Hong Kong.
Right.
It's like, and LeBron James goes from like supporting BLI. He's like, everybody should have the right to protest. It's a, you know, it's part of living in a democracy. And then when people criticized, you know, China's treatment of the protesters in Hong Kong, which is in many ways, I don't want to say a lot, like the systemic racism in the United States is terrible and proven, but like the treatment of the protesters in Hong Kong.
Yeah, you don't have undressed police officers getting paid to go into subways with batons and beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, murdering in some case, live rounds instead of like, you know, yes, these are the things that are like, and then you just like, nope, that hurts my bottom line. That's hurting my shoe sales.
Right.
That's hurting my brand because China is such a big.
Hi, I'm John Cena. Here's my perfect Mandarin. I watched that video. It was very uncomfortable.
It's like Manchurian Candidate, dude. He was like, you know,
that was very, very uncomfortable to watch. And he had his stupid
people that are in these entertainment businesses where it's like you sign a contract. If you break a morality clause in your contract, whether you be an athlete or whatever, you know, it's so selective. The morality is selective, and the NFL's selective morality. And obviously, yeah, some things are just bad no matter what. DUI, murdering somebody being one of them, but you know. They're terrible. The NFL, the NBA, like they're not a representation of morality or good things.
No, I know.
First, second, third. It's like religion. Like, do people do good things in the name of religion? Yes. But I would say a lot of terrible shit has been done. You know what I mean? Right. Or a lot of divisiveness and things are still being, you know,
perpetrated,
attributed to it, you know. And so the same thing can be said about professional sports. There's, you know, wrestling to anything else, you know.
Right.
Certain things in the entertainment industry.
I have no illusions that it's one of the sleaziest businesses in the world. It might be more sleazy than the professional music business, and if it's not, it's really close, probably. I have no illusions about that. But with that being said, like there is a little bit like of innocence in my soul that like just like, you know, like I just want to watch people play football and be good people. Like I don't want to watch a guy make one-handed catches if I also know that he's a fucking psychopath who flays cats alive, you know? Like, there's a little bit of me that is still not so cynical that I would like for that to happen, I guess. And I don't really think it's realistic necessarily, because to become a professional football player, you have to be a psychopath or a sociopath, more than likely. And that's just the way it goes. But I still hope for that kind of thing.
Do you think it's okay for an actor to speak out against gun violence? That's an actor that made their entire career by starring in like shoot 'em up action movies.
Who was the actor?
Like glorify violence. Huh?
Who's the actor, out of curiosity?
I mean, the one that I'm thinking of, I mean, I know it's been more than one, but like one I thought of specifically is Liam Neeson.
Oh,
Like
really?
gun violence is a scourge upon this world, and in America, it's the worst of all. And it's like, bro, you were nothing. Like, go back and look at Liam Neeson in the '90s. Dark Man. Speaking of which,
Right.
that would be
Or
a good red letter media. Dark Man.
Taken is like,
Well, no. So that's what I'm saying is like starting with Taken, and over the last 10 years, when his career took off in his 40s, has been all like this action hero, just
right,
violence for the sake of violent stuff. Like, you
right.
know what I mean? It's just like, which is entertaining, but it also perpetuates this. You can't say that there isn't some kind of relation to, you know.
I mean, I just think it's hypocritical, full stop. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't even necessarily think that violence in movies equates to like violence in reality, or like gun violence in movies equates to gun violence in reality. But like, that doesn't mean it's not hypocritical to me.
Well, actually,
It's like, hey,
that
I'm the
too.
star of Barney, but I'm also going to star in these hardcore pornos, and I'm going to be very open about both of those aspects of my life and expect no one to think anything about it. You know?
I was gonna say, but it's probably too soon. I was gonna say violence in movies does lead to violence in real life. Just ask Alec Baldwin.
True story.
Yeah.
Did you
Too
see
soon?
what? Did you see her lawyers? Because they had like a female armorer, and her lawyers are like, they're like, this is sabotage. Someone snuck around in, and like, I mean, I don't know the case, but I'm just like, it seems to me like probably much more likely that she just let a live round go on accident. And again, obviously that's horrible, and she should be held accountable. But like, yeah, sabotage.
Why are there live rounds on set? You know,
That's a
to
great
begin with.
question. Right.
And then,
Um,
dude, I wonder what's going to happen with Baldwin. But the guy that
why would
killed,
anything happen with him?
well, the guy that killed Brandon Lee, he wasn't like a star actor, but he was like the henchman in The Crow. He was a, a relative like B-list villain. He had done some stuff in the '80s. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
but he got like
He was, but
blacklisted.
he went to a mental hospital for like 5, 6 years.
Oh, okay. So he didn't
Because he
get
was
like
so
ostracized by the industry. He just had
no,
trauma.
he had no idea it was an accident. Like
Right,
somebody
right,
put a
right,
loaded run, and he had no idea. He's executing a scene. He has no idea that there's a live
right.
round.
They
And
give him a
yeah, he
gun.
went
Right. Well, that's why I
and
was saying I don't think anything's going to happen to Alec Baldwin.
well, I'm saying I wonder if he'll commit himself. Like I don't know,
Oh,
like
he'll
what.
probably just drink a lot.
Okay, so this guy was like so depressed he had to go to a mental hospital for a long time. I was just saying I wonder if Alec Baldwin just doesn't do movies like that can't do it anymore. You know, I wonder.
I'm
Not that
guessing
that would
he's
be
gonna
not that that would be a great
slip
loss on
into.
our
I'm gonna guess he slips into substance abuse, because I'm pretty sure that's been a big problem for him throughout his career.
Yeah, I wonder if he'd stop making movies. I don't know, or shows, appearances in general.
I don't know. I've never craved for more Alec Baldwin in
Me neither.
my
So
life, so I don't know who is. I don't know how he gets work still, personally. Like, he's got a nice, smooth, and sultry voice, but, like, other than that, I'm just like, yeah, cool.
anytime SNL needs a Trump impression, right,
Right. He's
on the fly.
His impressions are literally just impressions, and they're not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to do an impression if you're gonna actually do jokes, but like if you're just doing an impression and that's the joke, it's pretty low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But I digress. Anyway, I'll let you go, dude.
I gotta get up
We've talked
early in the
about
morning.
enough, and we've corrupted our future political campaigns enough. So,
Yeah, just yours, buddy.
oh my
On that
God,
one.
you were so insensitive to Alec Baldwin's plight. How could we ever vote for you in 2042?
What you said about Henry Ruggs and the NFL, yeah, we're on
Yeah,
the NFL.
he's going to be the
Horrible.
NFLPA president in 15 years, and we're going to look like fools.
We're never gonna get funding from the NFL owners at our political rallies.
Ah, we
They're gonna
fucked
pay
up.
10 grand a plate to
We
support our
we shot
campaign.
we shot our fledgling party in the foot. Anyway, dude,
All right.
have a good night.
I'll
I'll
talk to
talk
you.
to you